Welcome to episode number 78 of The Closing Table. I'm your host, Tamera. Today, I've got some repeat guests. We would like to continue our conversation on the differences between the Dinosaur and the Techie real estate business right after this.
Welcome to The Closing Table with host Tamera, where we break down how to be successful in real estate and what it's really like to work in the real estate business. This is The Closing Table with Lawyer's Title.
Welcome back. I have two repeat guests today. The first one is Joe Atkins. He's the broker owner of Joe Atkins Realty, and he is a $30 million a year producer. Along with Joe, we have Tommy Wooten, vice president of Joe Atkins Realty, also a $15 million a year producer. They were on my show before. We talked about the differences between Dinosaur and Techie business. We're going to continue that conversation today because, well, honestly, we've had some new things come up, and we have plenty to talk about. So welcome back to the show, Joe and Tommy. I'm excited to get going.
Thanks for having us again, Tamera.
You are welcome anytime. Well, we're going to have to back up a little bit to move forward, right? So the first question I'm going to ask you, I asked you on the first podcast, but for those that didn't catch the first one, let's talk about, Joe, why don't you tell us how long you've been in the business? Tommy, then you tell us how long you've been in the business.
This is my 18th year in the business. I think I'm 13 years as a broker now. Seen a lot of changes in the business.
Yep.
Got in 2007, and then the market cratered about 10 months later.
Right.
And that was the best thing that ever happened to me in my business, which is kind of why I run my business the way I do.
Oh, okay, wait a minute. You're going to have to explain that.
So
why was it the best thing that happened to your business?
Well, what it made me do is I had to work really, 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 really hard.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people that have gotten into this business in the last 5 to 10 years haven't had to work really, 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 really hard.
That's right.
They weren't in a down market.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So the way I approach real estate and look at things is from a whole different vantage point than a lot of these new, young, quote unquote, techie or Gen Zers or, people I think that are just, a different brand of agent than I kind of consider myself.
No, and I can really relate to that, Joe, because when I came into the business, it was very late 2009, right?
Sure.
So we were all just still sitting around looking at each other and like, what are we going to do?
Right.
And from the affiliate side, I tell affiliates all the time, I think that was the best time for me to come in the market because y'all didn't have anything to do besides meet with people like me. Right.
Right.
And so we would sit around at Broker Opens in Dallas after MLS tour with margarita machines and taco guys. And I had Ice Cream Man on speed dial and all the things. And we'd load up and show up at a Broker Open and we'd all just kind of hang out. And that's how I got to know
That's how we built the relationship.
Chris Sigmund and John Weber and all the guys. So
did you leave out the hamburger man? Because
you can't leave out the hamburger man.
The hamburger man made
He was everywhere.
The hamburger man is back, in case y'all didn't know.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good to know. Hunkies, right? He's connected to Hunkies.
Right.
But anyway.
Is he?
Yes. They're owned by Hunkies.
I had no idea. Makes sense. Okay. Both
As
good
affiliates know all that kind of stuff.
I bet you do.
Anyway, so I relate to that. And so when I talk to affiliates today, I actually feel bad for them. It's harder to gain traction and get your attention because the last several years it's been just we're all just running around like crazy people. Right. So I think for me, I relate to that, being able to have the time to really establish your business, but you also had to work really hard to get deals.
Absolutely.
And that has stayed with you and with me also throughout the years, right? So Tommy, tell the audience how long you've been in real estate.
Been in real estate since 2010.
Okay.
And
well, you came in right about the time I did. So you know what it's like to work hard too.
Absolutely. Came in as a buyer's representative strictly for new construction.
Yeah,
Did
I
that
remember.
for the first couple years, moved over to Coldwell Banker. And in that time, if you all will remember, that was when video really began to take off because anything before 2010, Facebook was what? Almost nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And so along with the increase or the use of video on Facebook, I was there. So it was like second nature. I knew nothing else but to use video. And there's YouTube, right? And there's Instagram, which came along in what, like 2013, 14, 15, something like that. So a lot of us on the techie side, it's video for us. It's everything for us. And I am that. And I'm happy to be from that era of getting into, video where it was just everything about branding and marketing.
100%. And you have completely embraced it and become kind of like my poster child when I talk to other realtors that want to start video. I'm like, yeah, go check out Tommy Wooten. So I leverage that a lot. And so I'm thankful you embraced video because not a lot of realtors have.
Yeah.
Well, more now, but a lot. I mean, it's been they've been on the struggle bus. We've all been on the struggle bus. I'm not just calling out realtors. There's a lot of people that have had a hard time getting on video, you know? So
luckily for me, and a whole lifetime ago, when I was in the music industry, we were doing audio for video. So it's something I'd been doing since the year 99, 2000, in my college years.
So let's talk about, I think this is interesting, your team structures. So Joe, your team structure, Tommy, then your team structure.
So, my personal team structure is really myself and then a licensed associate that works alongside with me. I like to consider myself like a rainmaker. So I'm the one that's the face out bringing in the clientele and working the front end, back end, and Christina helps me, with all the transactional stuff, showings, things like that. So that's kind of how.
So you have Christina, and then you also have a TC, right? If I remember right, Christina's not your TC.
No.
Christina's your TC. Oh, that's right.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Skylar is your Christina. Sorry.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And I just spoiled your team structure.
No, it's all right. It's myself. It's Skylar, which is my protege, and my the one that keeps me legal and keeps Joe from getting sued. So she's my protege, does a lot of stuff on the staging side, helps out filling in the things that I'm not good at regarding admin and paperwork. And then, yes, the transaction coordinator, Kathy. So there's really three of us. And, every once in a while we've grown the team to where we had more agents, and that has been influx and then goes down. That's
normal.
Yeah, it's normal.
So it's just interesting to me that you guys have very similar team structures. Okay, and not that we really need to do this, but let's define who's the dinosaur in the room and who's the techie.
I'm the techie.
Okay, moving on.
I guess it's pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah. So one of the things that we kind of touched on last episode that I want to dive into more, Tommy, and you can talk, and then I'll pivot over to you. But you mentioned 5 marketing videos, to talk about how you market properties, right? Yeah. You touched on 5 marketing videos that you do, but you didn't really explain the videos. So will you deep dive into that a little bit more, please?
Sure. I think that anyone who takes a listing should really be looking at all the different platforms that they got to be on. Need to be looking at long form videos and short form videos. I think every listing could benefit from a long form video that can go up on YouTube, but you don't name it. That's my thing. You don't name
123 Main Street
after the address. Stop doing that. No one's searching that.
Yeah.
No one's searching it.
So what are they searching for, Tommy?
They're searching for what $500,000 can buy you in Plano, Texas. They're that's the stuff that people from California, Oregon, Washington, Florida, that's the stuff they want to know. And that's how they find you. That's how they find the house. If they stumble upon a house, through your video, great. And perhaps,
wait, but give us the top 3 example, best viewed video, long video. What was it called? What were they called? What 500,000 in Plano can get you? Is there a couple of other names that you titles that you typically use that get a lot of views?
I love that title because that's very, very high. It's very searchable. Okay. People from outside DFW will search that. Another one that I would say is, let's, for example, say a home in you like to use city state. City state's got to be there, or else it's not getting found. But the
Okay, so
address
not
definitely-
subdivision, not like the tribute, but you're going to say the city the tribute is in instead, for
Correct,
example.
correct.
Okay.
City state. Maybe you're even talking about everything you need to know about Plano, Texas, Frisco, Texas.
Yeah,
what
see, I
happened?
really
right?
like that one because these community tour videos are getting a lot of traction with people like Tom Ferry and things like that. So if you're talking about a particular house in a particular subdivision,
He's actually late to it, but yes.
sorry, Tom.
I've been following Tom Ferry for
Hey, I
years.
get
He
it.
was
No,
he wasn't on the community tours.
Yeah.
Until,
But to like, you're taking that property, right? You need to do a video about a property because you have a listing, right?
Mhm.
If you only expand it to the subdivision, you're still like in this little bitty pocket that's not going to get a lot of traction because people outside the area don't know what that subdivision is.
exactly. Not
So
searchable.
then you make it bigger, right? You expand it out to make it a community video. So now what are you talking about? Restaurants and things for the kids and what's our, traffic conditions and construction, or what are you including in your community videos?
Yeah. The overview really has a lot to do with the stuff that's searchable. People are concerned with safety. They want to know about the schools. They want to know about the amenities. They want to know about the price point of the home,
Okay.
right? Of the community. And so you can start very far out. For instance, start with a video saying, look, we're in Frisco, Texas today. If you stay to the end of video, I've got a home tour that's going to blow your freaking socks off. Start the video. All right. Open up drone footage over city state. Go in. I'm here at this local restaurant. You're going to love this. Be sure to stay to the end. You tease the video, the home tour at the end of the video. Be sure to stay to the end of the video. You do a couple other things and you're dropping nuggets about the safety in the school district. However many minutes in, depends on the editor, how much video you've actually recorded. Now here we are. We are at 123 Main Street. You're not going to believe this freaking house. You take them on the tour and you've showcased the house. You've shown people a lot more than what they could get with
That's right.
just a
Yeah.
home tour.
How long is this video ish?
The longer the better. People
Really?
The longer the better.
Like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes?
As high as possible.
What? People are watching that?
Without on their TV screens. They're
Wow.
not on their phones. I've had people pick up the phone and say, I've binge watched all your videos. And I'm like, some of these videos are 30 and 40 minutes. Some of these videos are an hour and they've watched them. Average watch time on the hour videos,
An hour?
15 to 20 minutes average
Okay.
watch time,
Okay.
which, and a lot of people are getting to the end screens. I can tell.
It's so interesting to me because that's so counter to everything you're hearing about people's attention spans,
Right.
right?
Mine,
Well, here's the thing.
mine included.
well, check the thing.
30 seconds.
Well, check.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. When people are hell-bent on getting out of a situation that they are in, and it's like, we got to move, baby. We got to get the kids. And you know what I've heard about Dallas? We got to get there. So people will consume as much information as they can. And YouTube is freaking wonderful for that. Now, people are not going to Instagram for long form video.
No, yeah.
There's two kinds of people.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it. I've had other people that have reached out and they said, like, honestly, I'm moving to Dallas based on a bunch of shorts. And I'm like, I think that's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? Now, I've had some people that say they found me on Instagram and they followed my link onto my YouTube channel as well. That's what I hope they do because I don't feel like dealing with flaky people.
Mhm,
Right?
mhm.
Like, okay, you watched a bunch of shorts and you're willing to change your whole life on shorts? Like, you didn't do any more research than like watching 30-second to a minute clips? No, but that's where your actual home tours, you got other videos that are just of kitchens and neighborhood. Zoom in to the house really fast. Kitchen.
Mhm.
This home is 123 Main Street. To learn more about it, follow the link and
Yeah.
follow my link tree, and those are the videos. So that's where the other videos are. The kitchen, the elevation exterior, the community zoomed in on the house itself for more information about this. So that there is a methodology about using all these videos. And honestly, I hope they do follow my link tree and find my long form videos, because they're going to find a lot more information that will help them settle in on DFW. That's number one, selling DFW, and settling in on me as their buyer's representative. So it's a method.
Okay, and I agree with. I mean, I hear you. I was just a little surprised by the length of time, but that's okay.
it's wild.
And I don't disagree with you. If people need to do their due diligence before they move to a city, and it might take a video like that. Okay, so you said 5 videos to market a property.
Yeah, I kind of just gave you like
You
the
pretty much
main
gave
home tour.
yeah.
Yeah, that one, and that's for YouTube. And then the shorts, or YouTube shorts, or Instagram reels, those are going to be like the other 4
Okay.
that I was just talking about.
And they're just little teaser videos.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And, we'll drop links in the description on YouTube. They make that a little bit easier to click the link. And on Instagram, it's me actually verbalizing what to do, what their call to action is going to be. Find my link tree, or to learn more information about this listing, do this,
Okay.
perform this action.
Okay.
It maybe call me, text me.
Now,
Whatever.
you did not say TikTok.
Some people use TikTok. I don't. I mean, and I'm not bashing TikTok. TikTok is extremely valuable. I haven't gotten leads off TikTok. I've gotten leads off Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Well, and not every platform's going to work for everybody. And there is a argument to spreading yourself too thin on the platforms, right?
Yeah, I think it takes a good chunk of money to go across all the platforms.
Mm-hmm.
The monthly output on that is like, it can be really silly to multi-purpose your videos,
Why?
because that's what the companies charge
Okay.
to multi-purpose a video. Okay, you want to take this, you want to get it on all your platforms. You've got, softwares that do that. It's not inexpensive. Programs like Later, or bigger companies like Hootsuite. What Hootsuite used to be compared to what Hootsuite is now is different. Hootsuite is way different than what it used to be.
Yeah, I
But
haven't used
bigger
Hootsuite in a long time.
Yeah, well, it ain't the same as what it was. The layman, we used to be able to use Hootsuite 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They've completely changed. It's not that. Now we got other things like Later.com, which will take you across all platforms, and it's expensive, and you have to plan your content. And look, some of the bigger teams in DFW, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, and kudos to them for doing that. And a lot of us should.
Okay. Interesting. We'll have to dive more into those
Platforms,
Yeah,
or
another
the company.
episode. Yeah, the company's another
Sweet
episode.
later.
Yeah.
Plenty more.
So, Joe, pivoting over to you, your marketing of properties is a little different than Tommy's.
Sure. Slightly, just a little bit.
So let's kind of, I was really glad to deep dive into what Tommy was doing, because we didn't get to do that last episode. But I also think, conversely, it's important to talk about how you market properties.
Sure. Again, I do things what I consider a lot of old school type ways, and it's just person to person interaction. A lot of our deals get done by just conversing with other agents. Our primary markets, the Dallas core, urban core, from downtown.
South of LBJ.
Yeah, south of LBJ. And it's just a different world for
It is.
our market versus, the northern suburbs and whatnot. I think just from what I've seen over the years, we all kind of know the players in each neighborhood. And so a lot of what we do is market directly to people we know that probably have buyers in those neighborhoods. And most of our deals get done from me on the phone,
Yeah.
calling, texting, talking to other agents about a listing I have coming, talking about, buyer needs. Like, that's how a lot of the deals get done south of 635.
It's so interesting, because I have a team client that does take on higher end, what you would
Sure.
call luxury or ultra luxury listings. And I was talking because they've been doing a lot of broker opens, right? They're a team based in South Lake, but they have a lot of listings in Tarrant County, all over.
Right,
They have an incredible amount of listings. And they do things in Dallas, and they also do them in Collin County. And the agent on the team was like, I don't understand the broker open because if we do a broker open in Dallas, we get all kinds of brokers and agents coming to that and people that are the right kind of agent, meaning they have those kind of buyers, right? Or they're doing that kind of business in Dallas. But if we go to Collin County or we go to Tarrant County, we don't have anybody worth, of that caliber. Okay, I don't mean worth. Of that caliber showing up to the broker open. And so what is the deal with Dallas that's different than Collin County? And I said, let me explain, because I've...
Oh, I know.
And so,
you've worked it.
Yeah. And so I explained to her, I said, look, it's built in, it's ingrained to them. And Dallas is part of their business model, right? They go to MLS meeting, they go to tour. Tour is essentially a broker open.
That's what it is. It's a broker open. Yeah.
And it's also a more concentrated area, so it's a lot easier to get around, right? And so when you've got a listing in Van Alstyne, for example, or Anna or Melissa, some of these large more acreage type properties or super luxury properties, it's a lot harder to get people to come out there. Well, why is it harder to get people to come out there? Because there's so much distance and the area is so big, and a realtor that works or focuses in this part of Collin County doesn't mean they focus in this part of Collin County. And that's true for Dallas County also. When we're talking about what you're doing, we're talking about Dallas proper. Like the city of Dallas. And it's a landlocked area. It's very divided in pockets. Park Cities, Preston Hollow, et cetera. And so you guys, like, to your point, if you have a property in Preston Hollow, the agents that are doing business in Preston Hollow, and you don't involve an agent that works in Lakewood.
Right. Yeah. You're going, well, it's just, we're going direct to the source. Like, hey, I know so-and-so's got buyers for homes selling in this pocket.
And it really is a pocket.
Yes. So I'm reaching out to them and I'm like, hey, look, we just loaded this listing and coming soon. I'm sending you the photos. Love to work with you on this deal. And a lot of these deals we do get done agent to agent because, there's so many things. If we can highlight ours, for specific agents in specific geographic areas they're working, A, it makes everybody else's job easier. And B, it's just relationship business. I mean, that's just how I've always run my business, is relationships.
So let's take because I know that you do business with a lot of people that you really know well. Right? So you don't really necessarily have to explain yourself or do a formal listing presentation or whatever. But let's take that out for a second. Okay. When you're talking with a seller, do they have an expectation that you're going to market this property at a high level? Do they ever ask you to do things like what Tommy does? Or do you just say, I market my properties in a way that's going to bring you a buyer. Just let me do my thing.
Yeah.
Do you get pushback from sellers about how you do your business?
No. I mean, at the end of the day, I have a track record. And I always say my track record speaks for itself. I have no problem giving people a list of references for those specific areas that I'm selling in. Obviously, I can show people what I've sold in that area, in the last, year or whatever the case is. So I always say, like, my numbers speak for themselves. And you can talk to XYZ person and they'll tell you how their experience was with me.
So it's so interesting because in general, when you're just kind of generally thinking about this, it seems so much easier to do it Joe's way. Well, but here's what you have to understand.
It's years and years and years. I love how you make it so trivial because it's not easy.
Not trivial.
If you knew the hours I spent building relationships, showing up to other agents' broker opens, that's what people don't realize. I tell new agents all the time, agents aren't your enemy. That, people are like, well, why would I want a relationship with another agent? Well, if you want to be in this business for the long term, you better get to know the players, because the players are here to stay. And your job's a lot easier knowing the players, to be able to do business with the players, to get deals done. I'm in the business of doing deals.
That's right.
So
Say it with your chest.
You know, and it's interesting because I don't know if you influenced this within, like, kind of within me to take back to some of my people
Sure.
after our last podcast, but you know, the conversations I've been having with some of my clients that are doing broker opens and they're not getting people to show up. My answer back to them is, well, do you to go to other people's broker opens? You cannot expect people. That's right.
Yes. And I think that's where I get a high amount of turnout, because I show up for people.
That's right.
And I think you can ask a lot of people in this industry, like, and why I have relationships with a lot of people that are like, man, Joe Atkins showed up for my deal. And he took time out of his day to come and see this. And not only that, he tried to push my property to people he thought it might work for. And, you know, not for nothing, like, photos will tell you a story, but until you go in a house and really see it, there's a lot of times I walk a house and my brain clicks walking in the house like, you know what? This house would be a perfect fit for so-and-so. I leave, get on the phone and say, hey, look, you need to come see this house. And that's how I sell a lot of properties.
Well, and I don't think the photos, I've looked at a ton of photos on MLS and I go into the house, I'm like, wait a minute.
Right. Sure.
Y'all sure did make that look good online.
But again, this is also a pet peeve of mine with the techie younger agents, this and that.
Oh, you're skipping ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We can move into pet peeves. That was the next. So go ahead and start it off, Joe. Give us
again, like I'm saying, like, my way of doing business is I like to know properties. I like to walk properties because I have a Rolodex of clients. And again, getting away from all the techie, I don't use a CRM. I don't have all the, this and that.
I'm not sure you use email.
I do. I just get a lot of emails, so I kind of filter through them, But the best way to get a hold of me is my telephone, But as everybody knows, like, man, I'm out.
Yeah.
Tell people, I am out. I am looking at property. I am getting in front of. I'm like, how are you going to sell something when you don't understand the neighborhood? When you don't understand the homes, the nuances? Like if I can go, and you know how great it is to be with a buyer and walk in a house and go, oh yeah, I sold this house 6 years ago. Yeah, I showed this house, when it was on the market last, telling them about. They're like, wow, you really are an expert. You've been in this house.
Yeah.
Before it was on the market this time. Like, yeah. Like.
Well, and I think to your point, like, you hear realtors say, when you ask them what area they service, well, I service DFW.
Right.
Well, no, you don't.
Right.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Not anymore.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Right.
And so I think you're listing out really valuable reasons why you should try to target an area and become that community expert.
A neighborhood expert, yes. Because at the end of the day, Dallas has grown so big. It's like it takes you 30 minutes to get anywhere, right? Like
it takes me 30 minutes to get from Salina to Frisco now.
Exactly, right? So if you think you're going to be covering ground all over, like,
it's not practical.
Good luck. Now, I will say, on the listing side, it's a lot different than on the buyer side. On the buyer side, I think you got to just stay in a specific geographical area that you're familiar with. Listings are a little different because you're not running around showing people. You're just focused on one home. You can list homes, and because I feel like good listing agents can sell anywhere.
Okay. Yep.
That's just my theory.
Wow. I'm exactly the opposite.
You are?
Yes.
Okay, tell us why.
Well, it's because 90% of my business is relo. So I have to go wherever the buyers want to be. So, and also it's a new construction thing as well, newer construction.
Sure.
So I'm everywhere from St. Paul, Wiley, the Inspiration Community, over to Pecan Square around Denton, up north from Light Farms in Salina, all the way down to Waxahachie, wherever they found online or whatever video they found of mine, and they're asking me for advice. They're telling me their criteria. Hey, look, I want an acre and I want to be, new construction. I want to be under 700. Okay, well, you're going to be in Waxahachie. All right, well, send me some stuff in Waxahachie. Send me Midlothian.
I had a client that lives in Wiley, works mostly out in that kind of east. I call it the Eastern Seaboard, the Metroplex. Yeah. And I talked to her one day, and she's like, "I got to go to Eagle Mountain Lake and show a buyer." I'm like, "Oh my god, that's far."
It's a lot of driving, but the listing stuff, and Joe, you get this. I really spend a lot of my marketing dollars within my zone, pushing my brand within the elementary school zone, the middle school zone I'm in, the high school zone that I'm in. Lots of dollars in there, face scene, the digital mayor, kissing the baby, all that stuff.
Well, okay, I don't want to run out of time. There's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about before we wrap up today. Now, this is going to dive a little bit deeper into pet peeves.
Sure.
One of the things that we talked about before that had the listening audience going is when you said that agents need to learn to answer the phone again,
Sure,
right?
sure.
So now that we've had, all of the rollout stuff for the NAR settlement happen, and now, commission's no longer in MLS.
Right.
And I'm talking to some of my clients, and, everyone's trying to figure out where to advertise any available broker to broker compensation or seller concession or whatever you want to call it today.
Sure.
And, nobody answers the phone,
Right,
here we are back to, and I think it seems to be an even bigger pet peeve in the industry as of right now, or maybe a pain point is a better word, because of the changes. So do you want to expand on that, and has any of that kind of stuff or affected you since the rollout, or are you having people calling you more, and are you able to talk with them and tell them what, the seller is willing to offer, or are there any bad practices that you're seeing, or things that need to be corrected now that we're having some of these changes roll out?
Well, everything just happened within the last 30 days as far as the NAR settlement, commissions no longer being in the MLS, and as many agents that are just dying of pain over all the changes. I mean, nobody likes change, right? Especially dinosaurs like me. But the one good thing I have seen come about of this is, yes, now people actually have to communicate with you, whether it's by, calling you, text, etc., because they want to know what they're getting paid or getting potentially offered. They got to ask you now, it's not just there. So yes, it is an extra step of work for everybody. And I do feel for any buyer's agent that's going out and showing 10 houses in a day, because it's a lot of people you're trying to hunt and track down. And agents just in general, we've all got to be better about responding, especially now.
Yeah.
Because, I had a buyer yesterday, investor client of mine, and they just called me at 2:00 and were like, hey, they've been out of the country at the Olympics, and they say, hey, we see this house fits our needs for doing a renovation flip. Any way we could see it? And of course, I go pull up the information, see it's been on the market a couple of days, call the agent immediately. He's like, look, I've already got a couple offers, taking offers till the end of the day, which means we got to get in.
You got to move.
Yeah. So, 2 hours later, I'm meeting them at the house. So I got all the information I needed to know in regards to compensation, offer deadlines, like what they're looking for in an offer, because I had to call.
And they answered.
Yes. So that's a good thing, because I got a lot more information by having to talk to the agent in that situation than I would have gotten if I'm just like, oh, well, it's, here it is on Supra.
Yeah. Good luck.
They're paying 3%. I could have just blown it off and waited and showed them today. But there was an urgency there, and we jumped on it, and, the listing agent was receptive, and these things are going to work. It's just communication.
Okay. Well, it's something you're already very good at.
Well, you got to be. I mean, we don't have any choice now. We've all got to communicate.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the biggest other pet peeve of mine with a lot of the techies is they do not want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
They want to figure out how to communicate without actually having a phone conversation. And so many things get lost in translation.
It's true, but a lot can be taken care of with text. A pet peeve of mine is to always have my phone blown up by the same agent. And we actually didn't need a full conversation about that. And look, love me some dinosaurs, you know. All that being said, there's one thing about us techies is we do our best to be super efficient with our time. And we know that we can get a lot done through text. And yes, there are some things that do need a phone conversation. But I find myself listening to a lot of voicemails and, calling people back to be respectful for things that I didn't need a telephone conversation about. And it's things, I'll table the rest of the pet peeves.
Hey, for the record, I'm not a voicemail person. Nobody checks their voicemail. Like,
I'm getting more and more tired of voicemail all the time.
I have a lot of people that leave voicemails. I mean,
if I try to get a hold of somebody, and to be fair, the reason when I am making phone calls, I'm in my car all day.
I should say a lot of dinosaurs leave voicemails.
It's not that easy to just text and drive. So I call. They don't answer. When I get somewhere, I'll text them. But a lot of my phone time is just drive time.
Do you leave voicemails?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
Did you know a lot of dinosaurs still leave voicemails?
I don't get a lot of voicemails from my age group of realtors anymore. I mean, typically, and I just called myself a dinosaur. I saw Jesse's look. But I mean, Tommy would call me a dinosaur with Joe.
Our generation.
Actually, he wouldn't do it. I had to do it myself.
You put words in my mouth.
Yeah, that's right. I do the same thing as Joe. I'll call if I need to talk to somebody. I mean, I know the difference of what is a text and what is an actual call, right? So I don't bother my clients with a bunch of stuff with a phone call when it can be a quick text, right?
Stop leaving voicemails. That's all I gotta say.
When I call a realtor, if they don't answer the phone, I turn around and text. And if I need to speak with them,
you ask them to call you back.
Call me when you have a sec.
Right.
It's literally one of my auto texts.
Well, one of the things we say on our greeting is like, "Hey, look, for a faster response, just freaking text me."
I don't even know what mine says anymore.
But no, I still get voicemails. Hey, Tommy. So, sorry. Let me put my cat down.
This is off topic. I digress. But a pet peeve. I wish doctors
the cat lady
would text.
Oh,
I don't need to talk to you to confirm an appointment. I don't need to talk to you.
You're like fumbling around trying to get your phone because you're like, oh my gosh, if I don't answer this, I'm not going to talk to them today.
Doctors need to get on text. And if one more doctor asks me to fax something, I'm gonna find a new doctor.
Same thing with loan officers too. Whenever if we're in escrow and I see a call come in from my loan officer, Scott Moyes, he freaks me out every single time. I'm like, and all he's like, what does he say? Sup? And I'm like, it's never. He's like, yeah, we're clear and close. I'm like, God, you couldn't text that? Am I lying?
No,
am I lying?
That's a good one.
He calls every single time. He'll leave the voicemail. Hey, it's Scott, hit me back. I'm like, bro, just send me a freaking text.
We're gonna have to put this in a reel. Is he even that active on social?
Not as
I don't even know if we tagged him if you'd ever see it, I
mean, he's on Facebook. This is going to go on Facebook.
Well, one more. Okay, we need to wrap it up, but I wanted to ask you about one other thing, Tommy, because you and I had an interesting part of our conversation where you said, a bad practice or a pet peeve for me is when agents go into somebody else's listing to do social media videos. And I said, well, why is that a problem? Because when you want the additional publicity on social media, and then you were like, no.
Yo.
And I was like, okay, learning moment for Tamera here.
Look, here's the thing, and I'm speaking for all the influencers, all the entrepreneurs.
Tommy's mad.
Look,
he's going to speak.
Dinosaurs, unfortunately, can't understand what we go through to try and create our content. It doesn't come without risk. And at the end of the day, we're trying to bring exposure to someone's listing. Yet we're being told that we can't do it for, well, we need you to do this, or like just jump through hoops to get in a listing. Yes, you have a bomb listing. We'd love to get in there, showcase the kitchen, do some of these videos that we're talking about. And a lot of time we're made to jump through hoops to get it done.
Like what?
Well, we need you to, we have no problem giving credit, right? But if I need to fill out a form, not like an NDL, but if I need to contact your broker to get permission, or if you need to contact your broker to get permission, and I never hear back from you, and it's like, yo, can we have some common sense about this? I'm trying to bring some exposure to your listing. Honestly, it's an old, there's a lot of old school way of thinking that kind of they need to catch up a little bit. It is 2024 and influencers ain't going anywhere. A lot of us are realtors on the real estate side. You could look on Instagram, TikTok, and you could see where we are gaining influence and helping listings to get exposure. We would just love to not have to jump through hoops to do so.
Well, but conversely to that, what we actually talked about yesterday is when an influencer does go into a home to do a video and they don't have the correct information and they advertise misinformation about
Yeah.
them.
Joe's nodding his head over here.
Oh, Joe. Sorry, Joe.
Well, that's, the problem I have is a couple things. So Tommy, the way you explained it is the proper way to go about it. If I have a luxury listing and Agent X with whatever brokerage wants to do some type of, social media video, it depends on because a lot of sellers don't want that. And I've had sellers tell me, absolutely nobody's taking video.
Why? I don't understand.
it's
Well,
a lot of exposure to what they have inside their house, first of all. It can make them a target.
Well, and a lot of people, I hate to say it, but a lot of people that are doing the videos aren't people you want representing your property.
Yeah, true.
Just being honest. So,
like Bon Kui Kui, I don't understand. Like,
What? What'd you just say?
it was an old Mad TV thing.
Jesse.
Like, what are we?
She's like, I know.
I don't understand.
but again, it's a selective process. So if, there is a vetting process, or if it's like, I know this agent, they're reputable, they'll show the property in a good light, they'll mention us as, But if I could tell you how many times I've had vacant, new construction listings I'm selling where it's scheduled as a showing, my builder has a camera, and then he calls me, he's like, Joe, why is somebody walking in with like a tripod camera thing?
Gimbal.
Eek.
And they're supposed to be showing the house.
It's a gimbal.
Well, you scheduled it as a showing. Now you're throwing off my data when it's not a showing.
It's a preview. There is a place to
but
preview. Yeah.
Tommy,
But they didn't have permission to
99%
do
of
it.
you techies don't even know that you can schedule a preview,
That's true.
which is also
They- yeah.
a pet peeve of mine.
What, the previewing as a whole?
Well, no.
That they don't.
A lot of these youngsters don't even know there's a button you press to say preview, not showing.
Hey, techies, we got to get it together. There is a preview button when you schedule your showings. It's not a showing. He's right on that.
But at the end of the day, anytime you're doing some type of video, you should always call the agent. Don't just assume, hey, I'm scheduling a preview, but I'm going to have a 3-person video set in this house, and then I'm going to just post it. No, call and get permission.
You're right.
Call and get permission. That's where we're going to stop for today.
Yes.
We'll keep our conversation going, guys. I think this is a great topic that we need to have you guys back again.
I want to tell people to look out for the Dinosaur and the Techie CE course that we have, the TAR CE course that we'll be doing in the fall. It's a 1-hour CE course, and we'll be at Metrotex. We'll be with you at Lawyers. We'll be making the rounds with this to help people gain understanding. The biggest thing about the Dinosaur and the Techie, the CE course, it's to help each other. This is a big marketplace we're in, and we got to learn to understand each other. We got to be able to work with each other, or else it's listings lost, it's business lost, it's a bunch of misunderstandings. We got to figure it out.
I like it. All right. Well, thanks, you guys. I appreciate you coming back on my show. Look forward to continuing this conversation. So that's a wrap on episode number 78. Thank you for joining us today. Again, I'm your host, Tamera Gady. If you like my content, you're really going to love my escrow team. Let's get a conversation going about your title needs and make it a great day.